So this is why Donald Trump's indictment of Jim Comey might not go anywhere, probably won't even make it out of the motion to dismiss stage, because it is part of a pattern with Donald Trump and his cabinet members' inability to coordinate with the Department of Justice and make sure that the things that they're popping off and saying in social media matches with what the Department of Justice attorneys are arguing on the Trump administration's behalf. So we already know that recently Donald Trump intended to send a DM to his Attorney General Pam Bondi, essentially asking her to hurry up and find a prosecutor to prosecute his enemies, Jim Comey and Letitia James. So clearly that's what Jim Comey is going to be able to show, that it's a pattern with him, that he is just acting on political grievances, and that's what we call malicious prosecution. The Jim Comey defense team will also be able to say that in that Truth Social post, he mentioned Letitia James, and right before he was indicted, the Assistant United States Attorney, AUSA, that the Pam Bondi had tasked with trying to find a reason to go after Letitia James, was pushed out because she couldn't find anything. He was looking for mortgage fraud. And by the way, sidebar, whenever they're trying to take down a prominent Black woman, they always go after mortgage fraud. Lisa Cook is the first Black woman to serve on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Donald Trump was after her on mortgage fraud reasons. She's been able to show that she did not claim two properties as primary residence, and she's already won her case on two different levels. It's gone up to the Supreme Court, but it's a pattern. When there was an attempt to take down the Baltimore prosecutor that's responsible for prosecuting the officers at the end of the life of Freddie Gray, Marilyn Mosby, they allege mortgage fraud. My senator from my state, Angela Alsobrooks, the opposition research group that's filed and did a bunch of attack ads on her when she was running for Senate, also alleged mortgage fraud. Are you seeing a pattern here? The Jim Comey team was also going to be able to show that it's a pattern with the Trump administration and Donald Trump to try to go after people not based on cause. He fired a bunch of inspector generals and a bunch of agency heads that when Congress created those roles, Congress intended for those roles to be apolitical, to not be political, for those people serving roles to be able to serve across multiple administrations, irrespective of the party of the president in office, and Donald Trump ended them all on political reasons, not based on cause. It's a pattern with Donald Trump. And also he's going to be able to show that, and the case is going to get kicked out just the way it happens a lot of times. Let me give you 5 examples. What you're looking at here is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. And he is talking to Donald Trump's EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin. Essentially, he's calling out Lee Zeldin for the fact that Lee Zeldin had someone from their team when they removed 781 grants based on culture wars. There were environmental justice and climate grants. Political reasons. The law says it has to be revoked on an individual by individual basis. You have to review the contracts. They said that's what they did. Someone went on the record and said, someone from Lee Zeldin's office said, we looked at all of these, the leadership team, and we decided to end them all. But in the courts, one employee from the agency said that he individually on one day looked at 781 grants and he decided in one day. Around the same time, Lee Zeldin went in front of Congress and said that he did it. So Senator Sheldon was like, which one is it? You have 3 different cases. Your story don't make sense. And then, by the way, for that person, that one guy who said that he alone reviewed 781 grants, he would have to look at one grant, 45 seconds per grant on a 10-hour workday with no bathroom breaks. Like, nobody's believing that. And because it was a lot, what happened? All those grants got put back. That is a pattern with this administration. The Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, removed and revoked the temporary protected status of Nicaraguans, Haitians, Venezuelans, Cubans, Afghans. And when she was challenged on it, she says, well, it's safe to go back to those countries, to which Judge Edward Chen in California just recently had a decision to know it was racist. It was racial animus. He was able to use the fact that on social media, she's popping off about people from Black and brown countries being criminal, being animals, seeing all these racist stuff. She said, it's racist. There's no reason. And then also, by the way, your State Department just issued a warning to Americans to tell them to stay away from Haiti. So how can your State Department telling people Americans don't travel to Haiti and you are revoking their temporary protected status, and on the record you're saying it's because Haiti is safe now? So when they've appealed to the Supreme Court, it's now in front of the Supreme Court, they removed Haiti because they got busted. Again, the laws, what they say in social media, always indict them. Here's another example. Donald Trump administration rounded up a bunch of small children as young as 10 years old. Some of them that were sick, that were in orphanages and in homes. In the middle of the night, took those kids, put them on the planes, Some of those kids had been abused, sex trafficked. We have a law that says that when we get in our dominion children that have been sex trafficked, we're going to do our best to find a home for them, find a place for them. The Trump administration is a bunch of barbaric, evil, primitive, backwards brutes, nihilistic, cruel people. They put those kids on planes, dump them. And Steve Miller had said on social media and said that the children, the parents wanted them back. In the courts, the lawyers had to admit that no, they weren't in contact with the children. They didn't know what the parents were. So they were really going to go dump a bunch of kids. You know what happened? A Trump-appointed judge, Timothy Kelly, just recently issued a class to protect those children from the Trump administration from doing that again, to traumatize those kids. In his report, he said, you traumatize those children. Some of those kids said that I was scared that my number was going to get called. I was so happy they put me back. What era in history does that remind you of when kids are glad that they weren't selected to be prosecuted, to be persecuted? And they wonder why we call them nuts, because they are. Anyway, so that's another example. The kids are back. A class was created to protect those children from the cruel Trump administration. So he's trying to protect those children from the Trump administration, and it's a pattern for them to go after people vindictively. Who else used that Truth Social post? Gilmore Abrego Garcia, who was ordered by a judge to not be sent to El Salvador, and the Trump administration sent him anyway. They admitted on the records it was a mistake. So all 9 justices of the Supreme Court, including Judge Paula Zena, said, bring that guy back. In the courts, Drew Ensign, Department of Justice attorney, says, we're working on bringing him back. In the dockets, in the social media posts, Tricia McLaughlin, Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, Marco Rubio, Donald Trump is saying, we're not bringing him back. He's never coming back here. But in the courts, you're saying you're bringing him back, you're facilitating, you're doing the best you can. Gilmore Abrego Garcia was also able to use that Truth Social post to say he's maliciously prosecuted because when they had to bring him back, they made up some case in Tennessee. In Tennessee, he just recently filed an addendum to his motion to dismiss to include the Truth Social post from Donald Trump from a couple of days ago, essentially saying they do this. They vindictively prosecute people. Look what they're trying to do to Letitia James, and look what they're trying to do to James Comey. I expect the case in Tennessee to be tossed out because it's also based on nothing. They've had all these years to find a better link. They just have tenuous, not even credible information, evidence. Had they had it, they have lots of time to find the evidence. They don't have it. They did it to this other kid, Jordan Melgar Samaron, who was accidentally deported. And the dockets, the Trump administration said, we're bringing him back. Tricia McLaughlin is in social media saying, no, we're not bringing him back. They're uncoordinated. They don't have the emotional intelligence. It's a pattern. They find a person they want to go after and they find a reason to afterwards. And that's not how courts work. So you see a madman a while accusing judges of being leftist, of being activists, being liberal. That's not true because there are judges appointed by Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Donald Trump himself from last term have been saying you don't have the facts or the law to back up your claims. So that's why they lose. And that's why Jim Comey's team most likely will win their motion to dismiss. The New York Times case just got tossed. The Washington Journal, the one is next. He just files lawsuits. That's all he does. Trump's been involved in 4,000 lawsuits. So that tells you something. A good third of them he initiated. He initiated a lawsuit against his former fixer, Michael Cohen, who wrote a book for sales. On the day of his deposition, Donald Trump withdrew the case. The New York Times case got kicked out because there was just too many words and there was too many pages and it didn't really state anything. And the judge was like, what the hell is this? Bring me back, write proper pleading. It doesn't hold this other nonsense and stick within the page limits this time. Wall Street Journal asked for a motion to dismiss of their lawsuit, essentially saying this guy said that he didn't write the book, that there was no book. The Epstein's estate produced the book. So truth is a defense to defamation. And furthermore, he's talking about reputation. Everyone knows this guy's reputation. He said Epstein's a good guy. Epstein called him his best friend. There's lots of pictures of them together. He's grabbing he got sexual abuse allegations. Who is he kidding? Talking about defaming my reputation. Everyone knows this is exactly the type of thing that he would do. So yeah, that most likely going to get tossed. But that's what they do. So luckily for us, the administration's full of they've bled dry, kicked out all the career, like the last one just recently, career seasoned lawyers in Department of Justice. People even quit or been fired. So there's nobody to argue the cases. And when they do argue, it's not based on facts. It's not based on law. And so the whole administration People don't know what they're doing. Christy Nome, Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, RFK Jr. Their only qualifications being loyal to Donald Trump. And they have the nerve to say the DEI is unqualified black people, or the standards being lowered for black people. The standards are lowered in no other timeline when none of these people in these cabinet positions get these jobs. And given all their scandals, they would have been pushed out in any other timeline. But Donald Trump's values loyalty. So he's not going to kick them out so long as they're loyal to him. It doesn't matter how bad they are. TikTok, it's just only a matter of time before we get rid of all of them. They're all going. And then afterwards, we're going to have trials, and we're going to, someone's tracking all the crazy stuff they've done. There's multiple people doing it. So all you people who are part of this thing, your time is limited here. When he goes, he's 79. He's not going to be around for long. Not in office, not too much longer, because his health, whatever reason, he's not going to be here. If you plan to outlive him, we'll be waiting for you. You know how unpopular he is, if there's going to be a Democrat president soon. Statute of limitations, 5 years. So all the crazy stuff you guys been doing, you're going to be held accountable for it. So just keep on. Enjoy it while you can. Enjoy it while it lasts, because it's going to come to an end. So that's how I see it ending. If you want to support me, I would love for you to share this video. I would love for you to like and subscribe or follow if you're following this on social media. Go to my website, jjlegal.com, where you can sign up for my newsletter, where you can get my videos. I'm going to do a soon, every week in your inbox, you get the roundup of the legal L's for the week. Some cases I think you should know about, just in case platforms like TikTok start kicking me off. They're already suppressing left-leaning content. So yeah, so sign up for a newsletter. That's how you can support me. And then there's other ways you can get my case trackers, my merch, my Know Your Rights cards, or my templates. JJ Legal, each one teach one. So yeah, don't be worried. You'll be okay. Thank God they're inept.